AITA for making a depressed friend homeless for my own comfort. In November, a friend 28M mentioned that he was currently homeless and alternating between living with his sister and his car with his cat. I 31F offered to let him live in my spare bedroom to get back on his feet. There was no rent or utilities discussed. He's never paid a dime. Him staying here has always been understood to be a temporary thing, but no actual time limit had been discussed. He's been a very considerate roommate. He stays in his room most of time. He cleans up his messes. He's polite, etc., and I absolutely cannot stand living with him. I've lived alone since I was 19, and I hate having someone else in my private space. I thought I'd be okay, but I'm tense and on edge all the time, listening for his footsteps, breathing, anything. I had a very abusive childhood and I was never safe at home. I get unreasonably annoyed at the tiniest, pettiest things. I want my house back. However, he has nowhere to go. He's getting a student loan check into weeks, but other than that he has no income. Rent is through the roof and we live in a housing desert. However, he has nowhere to go. He's getting a student loan check into weeks, but other than that he has no income. Rent is through the roof and we live in a housing desert. I genuinely think he won't be able to afford or qualify for any apartment in town. And he hasn't done anything really wrong to me. I'm just neurotic. Would I be the asshole for telling him I'd like him to leave by the 1st of February? How about the 1st of March? Update. We just had the uncomfortable conversation and I went in softly. I did not end up giving him a deadline at this time. I reminded him this was temporary and grilled him on what he's been doing to look for an apartment. He admitted he had been doing nothing and he had absolutely no plans, no leads, and hasn't made any attempt. However, I think he will leave soon of his own volition. He is very conflict avoidant and I'm very furious. After he admitted that he hadn't been looking for a place to live, nor was he looking for a job, I told him that the place where I work, my second job, was hiring. He told me had a confession to make. I smoke weed, no shit, Sherlock. I can smell it every day. It's super strong and my entire house smells like weed. It just wasn't a problem since I smoke sometimes too. Would have been nice if you asked, but whatever. Anyway, he says he can't get a job because he smokes weed and thinks he can't pass a drug test. I suggested he stop smoking weed for a couple weeks. He kinda went meh. So if he legitimately believes he can't get a job because of weed in his urine, he is choosing daily weed over being a self-sufficient adult. He would rather smoke pot than get a job. So I should support him? I reminded him several times that him staying with me was always a temporary thing. He needed to start planning to leave, but he could take a couple months. Get on his feet. I'll help him get on his feet and get a plan in place. I explained why. I was incredibly clear and repeated myself several times. Now I'll be pinning down his conflict-avoidant ass for uncomfortable conversations about job applications and housing resources at least twice a week. I'm going to be getting info from managers or employees. I'm going to be so fucking helpful that the only way he'll be able to avoid getting a job is to move himself out. And if that doesn't work by the time he gets his big check in a couple weeks, I'll give him the March deadline. Update 2. He came out of his room a little while after our conversation and told me he's moving back in with his sister tonight. I told him he didn't need to. I wasn't kicking him out. I just wanted him to start planning and getting ready to be on his own. He was in a passive-aggressive rage though, packed all his things except his cat and moved out. I now have another cat. I don't know if at some point he'll want the cat back or not. He's gone. I'm on my way to Home Depot. I'm changing the locks tonight.